Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I think when we finished the last session, everyone was kind of interrogating Clancy. Everyone, I think, was
Then we went to
reasonably
bed.
certain that he wasn't
Fuck.
overly
Oh boy.
awful. I haven't actually written any notes last session, which was
Ooh.
really
I'm
stupid.
pretty sure we were putting Clancy to bed at the end of last session.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
we're all
we were all
retiring.
kind of eating and debating what to do next. And
Also,
I think-
Clancy doesn't know that Talia exists yet.
No, Talia is up a tree,
Sounds like a cat.
lurking.
Love them
Talia
so
is doing
much.
what Talia does best.
Being a trauma cat.
Yes, Talia is perfect.
Bless.
So yeah, I think when we finished off, judging by the places, I think Lena and Vera were still looking after the dwarf and kind of lurking around the edges of the campfire. I've got a note that Vias was claiming attempt for himself.
Yeah, he didn't really want to stay by anybody.
First watch was going to be Susanna and Diona. Second watch was going to be
Sarah!
Lena. Hi!
Hey,
Oh my god, we have mom.
Mom!
Finally,
We have
Mom!
everyone.
we're safe.
Holy shit, yeah.
The gang's all here.
Sarah?
The
Sarah,
boys
you met
are
our Lord
back.
and Savior Clancy?
I
Mom?
suspect Sarah might be listening, but not actually talking to us right now.
Mom?
Huh?
Save us.
Mom?
Hello?
Save us from ourselves.
Wake me up.
Take me up inside.
I
Oh
can't
no!
wake up.
Oh, we scared Mom away.
Oh no, who's my Evanescence?
Sarah?
Save me.
Mom?
Evanescence killed Sarah's connection.
Okay, Evanescence is totally a card now.
I love
Mom.
her.
Mom.
Mom, come back. I
When
need
will
to
Mom
scare
return
you
from the
away.
war?
In other news, my 2-and-a-bit-year-old niece has learned that is a way to get people's attention. Mummy, mummy, mummy,
no.
mummy, mummy.
Oh no.
Okay,
Apparently you
that
can get-
sounds like it would get really creepy really fast.
It gets really irritating really fast, but fortunately, once she gets about past like 7 or 8 repetitions, she gets bored and goes to do something else.
Good. That's a good trait to learn. When to be annoying and when to stop.
Oh, I have full-on plans to teach her to be far more annoying than that.
Oh no.
It is
Yeah,
my
just
duty
make
as
sure
her
you-
aunt.
Just make sure that those plans include be annoying to your mom, but not to me.
Yep.
Oh,
If you do this to
yeah.
me,
Yeah.
make sure those plans include don't turn this on me.
Oh, yeah.
No take backsies.
So anyway, I have watch rota as first watch is Susanna and Diona, second is Lena and Talia, third is Vera and Talia. So
You hear
did
me now?
anyone want to do any
I hear
You're
planning?
very, very quiet.
Okay. All right,
Am
I'll
I
turn
sorry?
my sound up then.
Ooh, it smells really good.
Hey, Sarah, Joe and I have been dating for 2 months.
I had my assumptions.
To catch you up to what happened before you were here.
Am I still really quiet?
No, you're good.
Better now,
You're better.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Mom.
Still kind of
Hi.
quiet on my end, but that might just be my connection.
Yeah,
I
I'm
survived
adjusting.
my 11-hour shift, so that's something.
Congrats!
Congrats.
Yay!
I only worked 9 hours. I was supposed to work 10 too, but eh.
Eh. Not worth it.
Have a
No.
job.
Jobs
It's
suck.
never worth it.
Don't do them.
No, I have to like call and see if I can be a camera person because that's my one skill. Oh God. I opened Tumblr and I have 4 messages in my ask box.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What did you post?
What did you
Oh,
fucking
nothing.
post?
No, it was stuff I answered last night on mobile. Okay, thank God.
Oh, good.
Oh, you want to know a name that I found? You know we're having trouble with our team name, right? Well, I was in my other Teldore chat, and we were trying to come up with names. What about the gay slayers? That was one that they literally came up with. I'm like, why?
I didn't know that. That makes it sound like you guys murder gay people, and that's
Yeah.
just not.
Or
Yeah,
we
I
could do
don't
gay
know if-
sayers. I mean, that works too. Like naysayers, but gay.
Gay sayers? We
Yeah.
just talk gay all the time.
Yeah.
That's
I
accurate.
mean, we do.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's
All
a
right.
little on the nose, though.
Who's on the first watch?
Susanna and Diona. Unless anyone has any important
I feel like there
conversations
was
they
a
want to kind of.
reason that Diana wanted to partner up with Susanna, but I don't fucking remember it.
Was it Susanna's breakdown?
It better not have been.
Well, I can't remember, so whatever it is, it's not fucking happening. I don't
Yeah.
care.
No, Susanna is basically just her usual quiet, cynical bitch self for the entire walk, and that's it.
Okie doke. So, I figure that Lena would probably at this point move the unconscious dwarf into one of the tents and kind of just bundle them up in blankets and things before she heads to bed. So first watch. Susanna and Diona, if both of you can roll perception checks for me, please.
Both of you to assume I know how to roll.
I haven't actually even opened Lena's sheet. That would help, wouldn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, you know what we could call
Eh.
ourselves? The no rollers. We just never roll. It's too much.
Okay.
Why did Roll20 just turn into a big blank screen?
Oh no.
Why?
Because it hates you, that's why.
Hates everyone.
Roll20 is homophobic, and I won't stand for this.
That's awful. Work.
Because Roll20 is a pissy little bitch.
It
No,
really
don't
is.
do that. Thank you, dear computer. Behave yourself.
Bitch.
Well, that's a 21 on the perception for
Fuck
Diana.
me, roll
So,
20.
Yep.
Bitch.
I'm just curious as to
Hey.
how much Susanna will roll.
Yeah, it's fucking reloading, and
Just say don't fuck me, roll 20, and maybe it'll work.
Paige has been unresponsive. I know Paige has been fucking unresponsive. Make it respond.
Do it.
technical difficulties.
Oh my goodness.
In my other game, whenever we experience technical difficulties, we'll say we're hurting the cattle. And I don't remember why we started saying that, but it's what we say. And I almost just said that and realized it wouldn't make any sense to you guys. It doesn't even make any sense to me. We're hurting the cattle. When did that happen?
I mean, I could probably create some chaos for you if you really, really want to do that.
Okay, I don't. It's literally not gonna.
Okay, we'll do it off Diona's roll, which is more than high enough. So as you kind of sit around the fire and keep an eye on things, you notice that the kind of reasonably calm attitude around the camp seems to get a little bit tenser with darkness. And it seems to be that it's not like people expect there to be anything that kind of untoward happening during the night. It seems to mostly be the fact that, you know, they are camping outside of this big creepy temple that kind of sucks people in and doesn't let them out again. So there seems to be kind of a slightly more nervous attitude after dark because, you know, ghost stories are funny during the day, but they're a lot scarier once the sun goes down. You do not see, however, anything kind of moving any closer towards you from the direction of the temple.
Okay.
And with that, your watch passes quietly. Talia, I assume during this that Talia is not sleeping, but is just kind of resting rather than sleeping.
Yeah, more the elven trance more than sleep.
Yep. Up the tree still?
Yes.
Okay.
Actual cat.
Yes. Talia is more cat-like than the cat we have in the party.
True.
Yeah, I know. And because it's Talia, I'm not going to make you roll to see whether or not they fall out of the tree.
Shut up.
There's just this kind of
Considering how long
noise.
Talia spent sleeping in trees,
Exactly. That's why I'm not making Talia
Curiosity's
roll.
sake, what role would one make to stay in a tree while unconscious?
I'm gonna guess it would be acrobatics, and it's more making sure that you kind of wedge yourself in position and catch the branches as you kind of startle awake and things like that. It's that whole kind of where when you're falling asleep and you dream that you're falling, so you jerk awake. It's that kind of monkey hindbrain thing that babies have that
Also-
teaches them to grip onto things.
those dreams are awful.
Yeah,
Yes.
they are very bad.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okie doke. So, at that point then, it kind of passes several hours into the night. It's probably kind of around about midnight-ish, as you guys head to bed. One of you presumably waking Lena up on the way past.
Yeah.
And Lena kind of heads out towards the fire and looks around and kind of just does kind of a tour of the perimeter of the little kind of group of tents you've claimed to make sure that everything's secure. And she kind of passes under the tree that Talia's perched up and looks up into the branches and goes and kind of goes, Talia, are you up there?
I
Oh, that's okay. Just making sure everyone's safe.
is it our watch?
Yeah, it is. But you can stay up there if you want to.
Talia
I'm just gonna-
swings down and hits the floor.
Oh, or not. Always nice to have company. I'm just gonna perch by the fire. Would you like some tea?
Aye, that'd be nice.
Okay. So Lena kind of, she's not wearing kind of the full armor at this point. It's kind of, the chainmail has kind of been stacked in a corner, so it's just kind of padded under tunic and leggings and boots, and she's kind of still carrying the war hammer around with her everywhere, and just kind of drops it at the side of the fire and drops to sit beside the fire and starts kind of setting up the pot of tea and everything. Talia, can you make me a perception check, please?
Okay. Hold on. Getting perception. Okay.
Okay. From where you were sat earlier in the day, kind of looking out, there was one of the manifestations in this area here that you spotted. And you can kind of, as you glance over in that general direction, you're not 100% sure where it was. You can kind of see like glinting off something in that general area. And you can see that it's bobbing up and down. Doesn't really seem to be doing anything other than that. It doesn't really, from where your angle that you're at, it's neither coming closer nor moving further away. It's just hovering there. And you can just about make out kind of shapes a little further away in the darkness when moonlight hits, maybe a piece of armor or a piece of weaponry or something. But it seems to be reasonably quiet. Most people in the camp have gone to bed by this time. There's a kind of sketchy watch posted. There's you can see kind of somebody in the main tent sat up. There's kind of the glow of candlelight in there, but nobody seems to be moving around the main part of the camp.
All right. I have a question, and follow me with it. Where's Susanna sleeping?
I believe Susanna was in this main tent here.
Okay.
Ren was in a separate tent, and I'm going to assume that the dwarf is in that tent as well with Susanna. I don't know where Clancy would, I assume, be in this tent.
Clancy is sleeping wherever they let them. Wherever the party kind of let them sleep.
Tent, probably with either Beer Mum or Diona.
Okay. I would like to be able to get close to Susanna, and slip something into like her bag without waking up.
She doesn't
Okey-doke.
have a bag. She has pockets.
Into her pocket, then.
Okie doke. Make me a stealth check with advantage because I assume Susanna is asleep. Is Susanna asleep at this point, PK?
Susanna's asleep.
Yep, stealth check with advantage.
26.
Um,
Oh,
I'm
dear.
going to say, considering that I doubt Susanna's passive perception is above a 26, that that is successful.
It's a 15 that it's successful.
All right. Talia sort of slips about 30 gold into Susanna's pockets and then sort of comes back and sits down at the fire.
Lena's going to kind of look curious at that, but all she's going to do is pass Talia a mug of tea.
Talia just kind of shrugs.
Yeah, there's no way Lena's got the manners or lack of manners to push that at this stage, so she's just leaving that well alone.
What kind of tea is it? Is it the usual tea?
It's green tea. Because it's the middle of the night and nobody needs more caffeine in the middle of the night. So it's kind of green and it's kind of citrusy and herby. Kind of more
Talia fucking
refreshing.
hates it.
Oh my god.
Talia fucking hates it.
Would
Talia.
that be more like what they used to, though?
I don't know. They rolled a fucking 4.
Hang on. I need a perception check to see if Lena or insight maybe. No,
Yeah,
I'm insight
Talia
check. See if
Talia would have
Lena-
let on.
yeah, Lena and with a 12, there's no way that Lena spots that.
Well, they do have a negative to their deception, so. Oh, they do.
Lena's just kind of like watches for a moment and then kind of it's kind of half a smile, half a grimace. Not so sure on that one then.
Oh no, it's fine. And Talia will just down it all real quick.
Lena's kind of at this point, hand half outstretched, kind of looking half amused, half horrified. I'm not going to be offended if you don't like that type of tea.
Talia downs it all in one go.
Oh. Okay, right. Well, yeah. I'll make a note not to dig that one out of the bag for a while then. We'll try a different tea tomorrow. That's
No,
Yeah.
it's all right. It's all right. It doesn't really
allowed.
matter. It doesn't really
You're
matter
allowed.
if I like it or not. It's just
It's tea, Talia. That you're allowed to dislike things like tea.
well, I'm allowed to dislike it, but you gave it to me and it's consumable, so I've got to eat it or drink it, I suppose.
I honestly do not know how to start arguing with that, Talia. So you know what? That fine. I will just make a note to try a different one next time. And then we're both happy with the situation, I guess.
Talia doesn't look upset. They just kind of shrug.
Yeah, and Lena kind of looks confused but rolling with the situation. Okay. Right. I'm just gonna sit here and bit dark to knit. Can you do me a favor? You were gonna keep watch later. Can you keep an eye on Vias? He's I don't know how to finish that sentence. He's twitchy right now with reason. And I don't think we can any of us stand to lose someone else in the temple right now. So I really don't want him to go running off and doing something.
Talia nods and goes, "Yeah, I've got him."
Thank you. That means a lot. But yeah. And Lena's kind of tapping her fingernails against the mug and is kind of obviously nervous and hates small talk and is really bad at it and is just generally being awkward. However, with that, the watch passes quietly. And it's maybe 3 hours later. Lena kind of, in the meantime, has done a couple of circuits of your little patch of the campsite. And she kind of steps up into the edge of Talia's view and doesn't so much touch Talia as kind of just move into her eye line into Talia's eye line so that they know that Lena's there. I'm gonna head to bed. I'll check in on the dwarf and then wake Vera, send her out.
They smile and nod, and then just kind of reach over. They're still sitting down, just kind of pat your leg.
Which gets Talia the biggest grin.
Talia just grins back.
And right, well, night, Talia.
What, Lena?
Talia heads into bed and kind of shakes Vera awake. It's stupidly early, Vera, and there's tea by the campfire.
As long as there's tea.
There's plenty of tea. I wouldn't offer it to Talia. They're not a fan.
Keep that in mind.
All
right.
And Lena is going to make a check on the dwarf. Okie doke. And head to bed. Okie doke. So as you head outside, Vera, bearing in mind that you've kind of missed a couple of sessions, the campsite that you are occupying is kind of 3 previously abandoned tents. It's kind of set off a little ways from the rest of the bigger campsite that the team that's out there investigating the temple has set up. You're far enough back from the temple that it seems to be kind of out of the main area of influence, whatever magic is in the temple. And also kind of far enough out of the range of influence of the various people and the arcane manifestations that are floating around. As you head out of the tent, the campfire is kind of burned down. It's kind of low, but it's still burning. It's obviously been stocked up with wood reasonably recently. Talia is perched beside the fire, and there's a kind of robust-looking metal kettle just kind of set on the coals at the edge of the fire.
Vera will help herself to some tea and just sort of Slav squat down. Not too close to Talia, but like, maybe 3 feet away, 4 feet away.
Okie doke.
Hi.
Hi. Not gonna patronize you by asking you how you are, but how are you?
Talia shrugs and goes, I did what you asked. The gold things.
Yeah?
Just as Susanna.
Didn't notice you?
She's asleep.
Good job.
They kind of grin.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
I'm guessing you have some thoughts about our guest.
They kind of like sit for a second and go, some of the things they said, I'm not sure what they are or where they're from. They said some stuff about names and magic and things. I'm just probably being a bit silly. But after Dylan,
No, this is All these things to me, I've been around a while, but they're just stories to me, you know? You're the expert here. I trust your judgment in this.
They kind of they smile, but it looks a little bit more like a wince. And then they're gonna stand. They sigh, and then they kind of stand up and sort of look a little like hesitant. But then they're gonna try to sneak into the fucking tent that Clancy's in,
Uh,
and
um,
handful of salt at him.
okay.
Make me a
As long as it's not a handful of
Crikey.
knives.
Make a what?
Handful of
I would say
knives.
I'm not sure if stealth or sleight of hand. I would say sleight of hand, probably, to see if he notices the salt.
Advantage or normal?
Advantage because he's asleep.
Yeah.
Shit!
Clancy there, right?
Day, sorry.
So do they notice this? Actually, wait. They're
Double
asleep.
What's Clancy's passive perception? I'm assuming it's higher than his
9. It's 9.
Although,
Nine?
since
Wow.
he's asleep, since they're asleep, wouldn't that be disadvantage technically? Anyway,
Yes.
So
would be
wouldn't it
disadvantage
effectively
for
be a 4?
sleeping.
Wouldn't the
Oh,
passive
yeah.
effectively be a 4? Because disadvantage does -5 to your passive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, in
Alright,
that case, then
yeah.
yes, it would.
God. Talia just like
There's
In
your
that
trips over
case,
something in the tent.
no, Talia kind of sneaks in and just kind of dumps a handful of salt on the kind of closest bit of kind of exposed skin, and I'm assuming there's no reaction.
Nothing.
Nothing happens. They are going to wake up in the morning and wonder why there's salt everywhere.
I don't
But
think
that's
they know
about
what
it.
salt is.
Talia
no.
walks back out and looks at Vera and just goes, I mean, they took salt fine.
That's something at least.
They kind of sit back down in their spot.
We can keep an eye on them. I don't. They're a little strange, but I'm not getting any vibes from them. Because I do believe I have detect good and evil just as a spell at all times. Or no, it's protection from good and evil. Never mind. But I can detect good and evil.
Talia kind of like cocks their head a little bit at that, and then just, I don't know. I don't really want to give him my name.
No, give them your name. As far as I'm concerned, you're Ansel here.
They kind of smile at that, and I think it's like a little ear twitchy too. Like, how are you? I haven't really talked much to you, but
It's a little. All of this campsite, it's a little more than I bargained for, but we'll find a way through it.
Talia just kind of nods and goes, thank you for, all the salt you bought earlier.
No problem.
You didn't have to, but thank you.
I know. But you needed it. I like giving gifts.
Talia kind of looks at you a little bit, eyes a little narrowed.
It goes over her head. She doesn't realize the connotation.
Okay. That's fine. Um, hmm. They just kind of fall quiet after that.
Growing up, I was never real good at talking about things or sharing feelings or anything, so I got good at making things and giving things to people.
Talia kind of nods. I guess where I come from, it's a little bit like that. We don't really give each other things. We sort of do things for each other instead. Um,
I like that. I think that's a good way to live your life.
Thank you.
At which point, if both of you can make me a perception check, please.
Nope.
Okie doke. To be fair, there's not a lot to see.
Oh.
It seems to pass reasonably quietly, the final watch of the night. Talia, you notice that as it comes towards dawn, the usual kind of chorus of birds in the forest surrounding seems to be quieter than you might usually expect it to be.
Talia
There
will
is-
sort of look over that way and just hope to get a response.
There is a response after a while. There's a long, and the response that comes is kind of quiet and almost seems cautious. And there is, as you kind of focus and listen, there is in the distance a much more noticeable sound of the dawn chorus kind of kicking in, but it seems to be further away, almost as if the birds that were close to the temple have either moved away or have just they can feel whatever magic is situated in the temple and it's making them quieter than usual.
Oh, that's not good.
But apart from that, the rest of the watch passed quietly. And eventually you see the sun kind of start to rise over the trees to the east.
I do think at some point during this watch, Talia would have sort of cautiously brought out the tome and done their like little nightly routine with it.
Okie doke.
But other than that, nothing else to add. It's done by the time the sun rises.
I would say with a perception of 15, as far as you're aware, everybody else in the group, apart from Vera at that point, is asleep in one or other of the tents. Is Vias trying to get up to any shenanigans during the night?
I think he doesn't, but he does come out at some point, and probably when the moon is highest in the sky, and just quietly sits down and looks up.
You're cutting in and out there, Ren.
Sorry. Can you hear me better?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Basically, Vias would, about like middle of the night when the moon is the highest, he would probably walk out of his tent, sit down probably near the fire or somewhere close to that, sit down and look up and just watch. Maybe close his eyes after a moment and probably pray to the Moonweaver for guidance. And his mistress. Raven Queen too.
Yeah, I'm getting like one word out of every 5.
What the fuck? Should I just type it? Because he just basically asked for guidance from like the Raven Queen and Moonweaver.
Guidance from the Raven Queen? Is that what you're saying?
Both. Raven Queen and Moonweaver.
Okie doke. I would say that probably the best time to do this is probably between Lena and Vera. being out on watch alongside Talia.
Mm.
And I would say, what's Vice's passive perception?
Perception for Vice, I think, is 15. Yeah, 15.
Okay, he would definitely notice then, as he kind of steps out of the tent, that Talia will be kind of watching him carefully, as he sits down.
He pays absolutely no mind to it. Like,
Okay, make me a religion check.
okay. 14.
Okie doke. It's not a response per se that Vias kind of receives. It's nothing in words or some kind of grand sweeping gesture that's meant to comfort. There is instead kind of a vague notion of resolution, or rather a kind of bolstering of your resolve, as if somebody is putting an invisible hand on his shoulder, and saying quietly in one ear, "You can do this."
He smiles and bows his head finally.
It's comforting and peaceful as much as anything else.
He holds his staff in his lap and just grips it a little tighter. And that's all he does, really.
Does he ever move again?
I would assume, like, a little longer into the night, and then he'd probably get up and go back to his tent. Mercy would fly to the tent first, and he would follow.
Talia would try to just... Vias?
He stops immediately.
What'd you say?
He stops immediately.
Cut out again.
Fuck. Hold on. He stops immediately.
Okay. Who's the other person on watch with me at this point?
I would say this is probably it'll be Vera out on watch with you by now.
Talia kind of gets up and sort of gets up next to Vias and just goes, do you want to talk?
His face kind of contorts, and he gives you like a watery smile, and he gives a small nod. If you're ready to talk, then I'll talk with you.
Talia kind of glances back at Vera a minute, and then like tries to pull Vias a little bit farther into the tent.
He'll follow.
Does Vera notice?
I mean, I'd say probably yes. They're right next to the campfire at this point.
She lets it happen, but she does take note of it.
Thank you, Mom.
I think you can see Talia is sort of they have their bag sort of on their back, and they're just kind of fidgeting with the strap. It's like a cross chest, like diagonal. And they're just kind of got their both hands sort of gripping and sort of playing with it, as they go. I'm not here to apologize. Just to put that out of the way immediately.
Vias crosses his arms and waits.
Well, okay. I'm not going to apologize for today, but there will be apologies for other things. I made a hard decision, and I am not going to apologize for it, Lias. Because I made the decision that I thought was best with the information that I had and the situation at hand. I, I already. I care about you a lot, Vias. Even if you've sort of. I would like to keep you safe. I'd like to keep everyone safe. And I'm sorry for bringing up what happened to me while you were sort of upset. That wasn't fair at all.
Talia, that's
And I'm sorry that I'm sorry that I haven't.
Talia, you need to listen to me, okay? You're doing the best you can, and I understand that. Okay?
Talia takes out the note they wrote for Diona a couple days ago and hands it over.
Okay.
And now I gotta go pull up my fucking Google Drive.
I think he holds on to it.
Parker, give me a second. I've got it saved. I can find it easy.
Yeah, he holds on to the piece of paper and he gives a
Do you just
small
want me to PM it?
Yeah, give it to a PM.
He just gives a small nod.
Sorry, give me a second. I just need to find my messages to run because it was going to be easier for me to find it.
No, I've got it.
Maybe I should read this on my phone when you guys can't see it in chat.
That I just sent it in PM too.
Okay.
Right.
Oh god. It took a minute for my Discord to load. Oh, I'm fucking cold, you guys. Holy shit. My house is freezing right now.
If I could send some of the Australia summer heat over to you, I would.
I think he gets to about the middle way through this note, looks up at Talia, and just shakes his head, and then continues reading. Okay, and then when he finishes, he's gonna gently fold the note, take a deep breath, and then
I know I did it again. I made a decision that wasn't here, and I did it, and I made it.
Talia, let
I
me talk,
want to
please.
keep everyone safe, and letting Dylan go for the moment was the best thing I had, and
Talia, please. First of all,
they're not looking at you.
Talia, I want to ask you a question. Do you trust me? Did I ruin that for you? Because I am afraid of that too. And there's nothing you have done. There's nothing that you have done that has made me think
They kind of
less of you or think that you're wrong, you're not wrong. It's just that things are a little different here. And that's okay. And I like to hear your stories and I like to know things about you because I care about you. And I want you to be protected too. And I want you to be safe. And you're so useful to us. And I don't mean that in a manipulative way.
they
My-
kind of just go, Vias, you haven't done anything wrong to make me not trust you. Ever. That's not what this conversation is about. This conversation is me apologizing for that and promising that I'm going to try to do better. But I won't apologize for the Dylan decision. And that's just kind of what I have for you. So,
I think he hands over the note back to you and shakes his head. We can make it up when we find him. And I still think that was a bad decision. I did not like that decision, and I did not like the way that you handled me. Don't do that again.
I think you see them sort of wince and sort of just in on themselves. I didn't know how else to stop you. I've been in situations like that before where we have to leave somebody behind and one of the group, someone isn't happy about it, and you do what you need to do to keep that person there.
I understand. I've done the same thing. I've had to leave people behind before in the sands, and I've had to take their bodies back home. Because that's what we do. And I don't want to leave anyone behind again.
I don't want to leave him behind either, Vias. But we couldn't be down too.
Even 1 second matters.
What did you say, Ren? I'm so sorry.
I'd said even 1 second matters.
We have no idea how that thing works. At all. I won't apologize for that decision. I'll agree not to stun you again. I agree to that, but I'm not.
Don't make me feel powerless again, please. That was not
No,
good.
I'm not trying to make you feel bad, Vias. I just want you to understand and know that it will be different from this point on. I can promise you that.
I hope it's okay. And just know that I'll be here. And you have I'll be here as long as I can for you. And I'm sorry if I failed.
Thank you, Vias.
I know it was rash of me I can't. I don't know how to explain this correctly, but it's not just me being selfish and and he gives like a weak, like pitiful kind of smile at that. I can't.
I know you're not being selfish. Going back in there is not selfish, but
It was the action of not being able to go back that hurts right now. Mostly because I can't. Whatever I. And he kind of rubs at his face. It's not a mental thing, it is me. My whole soul rejects that. I left somebody I needed to protect. And that is against all my being. And that's the only thing that is really I'm upset about. I'm not upset about really anything else right now. I'm sorry.
well, then letting you go back in there is against every fiber of my being.
He kind of like makes a face and shakes his head. And then just like kind of like gestures in the way that his like wings do the thing. He's like, this, not. And he kind of just looks around and looks for a place to sit down and just sits really heavily. I think we need a rest at some point, Talia. We all do. I think we need to spend some time together too.
I'm gonna go back to watch now.
Okay. And
Sorry for interrupting your night.
No, thank you. I want to talk with you more again. I don't like being away from you.
I don't know what you said, Bren.
Basically he just said, I want to talk more with you. Like,
You dropped after I want.
God, hold on.
Damn it, Ren.
It'll show up in the damn audio when this thing is posted.
I know it will.
Fuck.
I see the 3 pain gremlins typing.
I was pretty much also typing what Joe was typing.
What gremlins?
The pain gremlins.
I mean, first of all, rude.
Where, second
No,
of all?
Joe, you don't understand. I was at the end of connection, and you sent that.
Okay, well, I sent basically what he would have said to Talia in the in-character RP chat thing. So, yeah. He basically said, I want to talk more with you, and thank you for talking to me.
Talia just nods and goes, just thank you, and leaves the tent.
Vias just cuddles Mercy a bit, and she just, like, coos at him. Yep, that's his night. Fuck.
How many layers of miscommunication was there?
There is a lot. Literally, the only thing that he matters to him right now is like everything about me right now is like, why the fuck did we leave him behind? He's like,
Yo.
I get it was dangerous, but we could have just fucking grabbed him, and if I didn't do like, ugh, he's irritated about that.
No.
Otherwise, he'd be fine.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
The note isn't good.
No, it's
Oh.
not.
It's very ugly, and I'm like, why? Why would you type that with your hands, Parker?
Right.
Ren, you're not the one who got it when you were nearly crying.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're not the one who got it when it was written.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna make you guys fucking cry when Vias's arc comes up. You're
I
gonna
don't
feel
want to
real
know about how
bad.
you're
I'm
gonna make
holding
me
you
cry,
to
Ren.
that.
Like, I have to homebrew a shit ton of monsters for this fucking game now.
Know about how you're gonna make us cry. I don't want to know anything about the sadness. I wanna.
PK,
I wanna.
you know a little bit.
I do, and it's the worst thing ever.
No, it's not.
It's not
Don't
the
Trust
worst,
me.
Think
but
shit like that.
Meanwhile, I'm really looking forward to PK's age regression nonsense
Yes.
because
God.
that is going to be
Yeah.
the best for
Oh, if you
backstory
also have
dumping.
Clancy.
that'll be fun.
Because you are going to
Me
totally
too.
get Lena pre any trauma. It's going to be epic.
Y'all, I'm not cool with all this nonsense and chicanery going on. Like this is unacceptable.
Yo, my artist that did Vias's emotes just sent me messages with them, and they're working on lining them right now, so you might get some sad Vias
No.
emotes.
I
No.
really need to listen to that conversation again.
Yes.
Yeah. God, what the fuck is with
Okay.
my headphones and internet? It was working fine before. What is
Is
with
it-
Discord?
Okay.
I fixed it for
Okay.
Discord one point, and now it's stupid
Meanwhile,
again.
by this time, I'll say it's kind of approaching dawn. Talia has just noticed the weird nonsense with the birds, and the sun is coming up. And I think probably that's a good place to stop and then pick it up with heading into the temple again next week.
Oh god.
Well, pick up with making our plan for heading into the temple, because we're
Well-
actually going to try and do that this time.
And here I
What's
thought
that?
we were gonna plan today.
Well, we can plan now, as long
No.
as you kind of keep it fairly short. And I've got about 15 minutes or so before I absolutely really need to be in bed. So
No, you should sleep, so we won't keep you. Because if we start planning now, we're gonna be like, okay, let's go. And to leave that is gonna be real bad.
Let's yeet into the
Yeah.
temple right now. That's the plan.
Let's just
Yep.
do it.
I mean,
I
the
sh-
Go
planning
now.
doesn't necessarily need to be that complicated.
No, it needs to be very complicated. Otherwise, we won't be able to fuck it up properly.
Vias's 3-step plan
You said that,
is
not me.
1, Vias leads. 2, don't fucking touch the orbs. 3, don't do magic in front of the fucking orbs. And then it's all good.
And don't touch the people. Don't touch the people.
Yeah.
I want to know if the
Don't touch
dwarf
the
woke up.
orbs. Don't touch the people.
I need to know
Yeah.
if the dwarf woke up.
That's a thing that we need to know,
Yeah.
because
if-
that's gonna change Talia and Diana's game plan.
Otherwise, if Vias or if Dylan can't like be brought back after getting away from the temple, Vias is gonna be like, okay, we're going to Marquette. Let's go to my grandpa. He can greater restoration this bitch.
Valid.
He's the strongest cleric I know. Except he's got to get approval from the like 5 elders of the council. So
Fuck Marquette. Marquette's lame.
Yes.
I don't like
I mean-
Marquette.
Well,
Also, there is a
Haven
cleric
good.
and a paladin in the party who might also know people capable of doing that.
True, very true.
Probably not.
Fuck
Oh,
Marquette.
no.
We're a small town.
I
I
love
mean-
that.
Lena does, but whether or not Lena really wants to talk to these people is a totally different matter.
I mean,
needs
Vice,
to?
oh,
Or
I
ask
know
a
some
favor
really
from
cool
them.
people at a Raven Queen temple, except it's
I
like
mean-
so many miles away.
I mean, there are probably 2 people in the party at the moment that Lena would put herself in that position for, and Dylan is actually one of them.
Yeah.
Aw.
Vias is
He's
not
just a little
good.
boy.
Vias is not
Who-
a good.
who's the
teacher
other one?
now.
Who's the
Talia.
other one?
Talia is
Ah,
totally the other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
It's the axe throwing. It was the axe throwing the other week.
Yeah. I think
He knows
We
nothing.
seriously need to do that again with just all 3 of them. We seriously need to just. like do a festival that has an axe throwing competition, and just all three of
Haven.
these dumbasses.
I just want y'all to go to Haven at some point because it's gonna be a ride.
Let's not.
Let's just avoid Haven. Let's just avoid Corwick. Let's just.
Yeah, no Haven,
Haven
no
is
Corwick.
so
We're staying
pretty.
far away from this goddamn backstory.
Y'all, Haven is
We'll give
pretty.
Vasselheim a miss.
Oh,
We'll just completely swerve around around going to the Feywild. We'll go like
Let's
every
go to
other possible
Wildmount,
dimension.
guys. Let's go to Wildmount.
Oh god.
Oh
Oh,
god, no.
Oh no.
Feywild
is
trip
just a
right
crater,
now.
just Ford's nature and
Feywild
ate
trip
it all.
right now.
yeah.
Fucking no.
Feywild. Hey,
Yes.
am I bad if I still don't know like Clancy's from? I haven't placed it in Taldora yet.
Oh, that's
No,
not-
you're valid.
valid.
You're like the most valid.
Listen.
I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
put
fair
Corwick
enough.
onto a map until about like 5 weeks ago. So like,
Like I have an idea.
But also, consider if we go to Wildmount, then that means that probably the most likely way we're gonna do that is by Diana arranging for a ship. So we aren't avoiding backstory even if we go to Wildmount. It's just that we're avoiding trauma.
Oh yes, please, seriously put Lena on a ship. That would be hilarious.
Bias would be so sick. He can't do ship. He
Yeah,
has to, like, have his fingers
Vanna,
in
no,
the
no, no.
water. He's gonna die.
Talia's in the crow's nest the whole time.
we can't go on water. Susanna's
Oh.
skirts will get damp.
What? Yeah, I love the idea of all of you guys are fucked up by like we go on a ship, all of you guys are fucked up, and Diana's just like the fuck?
If Bias could fly the whole way, he'd be fine. Or if he could dip his hand in the water, he'd be fine. But being above water and swaying, he's like.
Yeah, Lena will be leaning over the edge of the ship right next to Bias.
Talia's like in the crow's nest, like, are we all good? Can someone bring me food?
No, this would be terrible. Like it's you know how many layers of clothing Susanna wears that are not practical for living on a ship?
A lot. A lot
All
of
of
them.
All of them.
Just
Yeah.
don't fall in the water and you'll be fine.
Right, but like it's the
With
damp
this
air will
party?
affect her hair. It'll be a mess. She will be unpresentable.
God
Frizz.
forbid.
Susanna shuts herself in her room and doesn't leave. Susanna does not come out for food. She's like, I can handle the starvation. Just leave me in here.
I know.
Okay, but would she come out for the possibility of, hey, do you want to shoot some pirates?
Okay, look. Yes. Look, if you bribe Susanna with the possibility to kill someone, she will absolutely come out of her room.
Oh.
She just likes killing people, guys. That's all.
Okay, but if you gave Bias a gun, he'd be so happy.
I really want to
Do
give Vias a
not.
gun. It is in the plan to give Vias a
Do
gun.
not.
It has to happen.
Oh God, no.
I'm
He'd
gonna
be
give
such
Vias
a good
a gun.
gunslinger. He'd be a no mercy Percy, you guys.
No, he has a mercy, Percy.
Yeah, he is a mercy Percy. Oh.
Y'all, why are we such fuck ups?
Because
That's
we're
terrible.
cursed, is what we are.
Because we're gay.
Why are we like poor like
yeah,
fucking
because
Clancy's
we're
been
dumb
asleep the
and
entire
we're
session.
gay and we're dramatic.
Dumb, gay, and cursed, the new lifestyle TV show.
And I mean, again, speak for yourself with the curse. Diana is not. And also speak for yourselves with the whole I'll keep my emotions right here and then one day I'll die. Speak for yourselves.
Yeah, Bias says everything he thinks, usually.
I don't have a meme. I haven't found a meme for Clancy yet.
Talia was like, I'm gonna fucking, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do in this conversation. I just know the conversation has to happen.
Yeah.
Whoops.
We'll see what happens. And then, like, at some point they were just like, alright, time to eject. Bye.
Yeah, Bias was not really happy with that conversation that Talia and him just had. He's like,
Talia
"You're
was
not
not
gonna
happy with-
apologize about the one thing that made me pissed off? Are you kidding me?"
Talia's like, I understand why you're mad, but also, no.
I understand why you're mad and fuck you. Basically is what he heard. he was like trying to like talk about the note, and then he didn't understand why Talia was like, "But that's not what we're talking about right now." He's like, "What?" Oh, he's so
I feel like
confused. You
Susanna
gotta lay it
really
out
won this
for him.
session.
He's
Susanna won this session because she said nothing, went to sleep, and woke up with 30 more gold.
Oh my god.
She really did.
Like, Susanna just fucking gamed the system there. Like, that was completely